Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers! In today's video, we'll look at another fantastic animated mod from the same creator as the animated assemblers mod that I did showcase on not too long ago, but this one, if you have not guessed already, from the reactor sitting right next to me, is called the animated reactors. So what this does is affect both the vanilla reactors, the small version, the large version, as well as the warhead reactors, although they are not as impressive as the vanilla one you see right next to me. So, without further ado, what I'm just going to do is grab hold of my character, come all the way across this convenient little chair that I set up, bring the free camera all the way over to this one, and I'm going to stare at it like so. So turning it off, and there we are. So what this mod does is that it adds in a bunch of new reactors, one for each reactor type, but they are identical in every which way, apart from the fact these ones are animated. So their power output, their uranium consumption, and of course their cost to build is all the same. But anyway, as for this basic reactor you see in front of you, what I'm going to do now is switch on the power, and as you can see, these two side sections will then rotate around, then extend all the way out and reveal to us a lovely green light. In the middle, our rods will then light up, and then a small animation loop will start to happen. So we'll do that one more time before we actually get a close look at the inside. So press number 1, they just fold in, they twist around, and then after a short delay, the animation loop on the inside will finish off the current loop, and then of course the lights will fade out, and now we're properly turned off. Turning it on, twist around, open up, they light up in the middle, and there we go with the animation loop. Here we go, move the camera a bit closer onto the inside, here we go, so past our lovely window, and then into here and putting on my light. So over to this section, this is what we get on the inside, so there's our rods, they're going to spin around, we've got 4 of them on the small version, and then right below that we can see we've got an access point that will open up, 2 claws will come out, pick up a rod, and drag it all the way back down. So imagine that's going to be the spent rod, where we don't need it anymore, and it's time to actually discard it. That's going to keep happening. What's happening on the opposite side, and currently replacing the rods, is going to be basically the same, but in reverse. So moving the camera all the way over to here, here we go, we've got another access point, they'll open up and bring out some more claws, but this time they have a rod already onto them, and they're just going to slot them in place. So when that around, there's the empty slot, and out it goes. And that's all it does. It's a very simple thing that, like I said, adds a lot of life to the block. What we'll do is come all the way down to here, here we go, so here's the empty prongs, ready to collect up the rod from above. There it is, it opens up, and there it is. And then it just vanishes into thin air because the animation cycle has now started again, and well, it needs to reset itself. Moving over to the opposite side, here we go, so this one will be prepped and ready, so once it loops around again, there we go, it just pops into existence, and then it gets thrown out and put into place. We'll watch it one more time. And there we are. A very simple thing that does add a lot to the block. Yes, we view that from the front, we view that from the top, but of course for the rest of this thing, it's going to be the same as the vanilla reactor. Turn towards the back, and there we go. Now if we were to turn that off and come across to the warfare reactor, unfortunately the warfare reactors, both the small and the large one, are not as impressive as the vanilla ones, but I suppose that is quite fair, because these ones are DLC pack only. Having the vanilla ones being more fancier is always a good thing in my opinion. But yes, what we're going to do is now just reline the camera like so, turn off my lights, and I'll press number 2. It's now going to turn on. Much like the Reactor Next Plus, we do get 2 prongs that shoot out, but this time it's on the inside behind the glass. So turning it off again. There we go, putting it back on. There we are, they just shoot out, and of course there is one facing directly in front of us. We won't be able to see that if we look at it on the side. But apart from that, what we get is on the top and on the bottom. You might be able to make it out down here, unless of course YouTube compresses the shit out of this video. Yes, we've got a rotating section, very hard to see. Putting on my light, they were a lot better to see. And just going to spin all the way around. That's all this one currently does. It's not as fancy as the vanilla one. Yes, like I said, it's perfectly fine because this is a DLC pack and there might be quite a few people who don't have access to it. Yes, spin the camera all the way through. Here we go one more time. We're going to look at it like so. That should do quite nicely. Turning off my light, pressing number 2. They fold in. Down to the bottom there will slowly come to a stop. And that's going to be the same for up and above. Up there. Press number 2 again. That's going to switch on. A light lights up. That spins around. And of course our rods stick out on the side. And that's all this one actually does. Much like the one we just saw over there, the rest of this thing is identical to the vanilla version, so round all to the sides. And there we are. So we can turn it off one more time. But now we move across to the big ones. Now these ones are absolutely impressive, apart from that one up there, that's largely the same as the small one over there. But yes, the big vanilla reactor, pressing number 4, here we go. So unlike the small one, we don't get any parts twisting around or folding out on the exterior of this, but on the inside is much more impressive. As you see, we've got more rods, and we've got much more fancier reloading and removing animation. Putting the camera all the way through, here we go, into this section right here. So there's all the rods, there's our lovely little arm that's going to put the rod into place, And of course we've got two sections on the left and right hand side, which is going to remove the rod and of course put in a brand new one. And best of all, this thing is simply randomized which rods it's going to pull out and which ones it's going to put back in. So they've now been taken out, come to the opposite side, it's now going to collect up a brand new one, and it's going to go put it back into the suitable location. There we go. Very gentle how it does it. Make sure there's not going to be any accidents with this, and well, randomly blow something up. Here we go, the rod spins all the way around, it's now chosen this one, it's going to take it around to the opposite side, drop it down into the hole, same system as the first reactor, but prongs going to come up, grab hold of the rod, and drag it all the way back down, over to this one, now going to bring one up, that's going to grab it, and just going to slot it in place. There we go, we're going to look at it one more time, go get a better look at the opposite side of this thing. Here we go, it's now chosen this one, and oh no, it hasn't chosen this one, it's gone back over to this one, so it's changed its mind which one it's going to choose. Yes, it's now going to once again go over to here, grab hold of it, we'll follow it all the way down, there it is right there, and simply going to sit here until the animation well starts again, before the cycle starts again, they'll just vanish into thin air. So any second now, it's probably going to take a bit longer than that because it needs to pick up the other rod, and we'll put it in position, there we go, now vanishes into thin air, and we just wait for it to start again. I'll go keep it looking at it like so, because it should open up, they'll now lift all the way up, there we go, and drags all the way back down. Come to the opposite side, here we are, and there it is, lift up, takes the rod out, and takes it to where it needs to go. And of course once it restarts once again, it will just pop into existence and be ready to be collected. But other than that, not too much else to talk about with this one, apart from going on the inside. Now this is a very odd thing, I'm pretty sure this is how the creator got around animating it, but on the very middle here, all we've got is another rod. This rod is very odd, because what it's going to do is randomly flick from left to right. If I try and find the section that has the label on the front of it, so all the way around, and there it is. As you saw from just a second ago, it just flicks around whenever it chooses to pick up something or puts it away. So we'll just hold here for a moment, and of course get a better look at this label. So we've got radioactive number 2, and down to here we've got, well, we can't really see too much going on there because it's too blurry for me to make out. There is a number 7 down to there with a bunch more text. Yes, it gets the point across, it's highly radioactive, and there we are, it just randomly moves to the side, moves all the way around, depending on what the animation cycle is and what it's currently doing. Not too sure why it does that, but still this was a funny little find on the middle of this. Anyway, putting the camera all the way away, here we go, go look at it like so, just a bit closer with my light turned off. I'll just go and watch the arm come all the way around. So here it comes around, it's now choosing a rod, and it's decided to go against that one, come to the opposite side, pull out that one on this side, there we go, so I'm going to spin all the way around, drop it down in front of us, down it goes, and then back around to here, it's now going to pick up a new one, and it's going to go put it back in its position. There we are. Yes, pulling away from this, coming all the way up and looking down, there we've got our access panel, all the way down underneath it, there we go, access panel, round towards the back, there's another window, and of course the left and right hand side is identical to vanilla ones, but once again are access panels. And then finally coming all the way across to the large warfare reactor, like I said, this one is basically identical to the small one, so switching off the large reactor next to it, and turning on this one, here we go. Yes, is pretty much identical. We've got our rods that stick out on the left and right and in front of us. Then down to here we've got our spinning section, up there we've got our spinning section, and of course we've got a little light up there. Getting a bit closer, turning it off. There we go, and turning it back on. Yes, as for the rest of this thing is identical to the vanilla one, nothing else has been changed with this thing, it's just that section in the middle. One thing that I did miss out before I end this video, which is very important and a very nice touch, is if we come back to the large reactor, this also works for the small reactor as well, so we'll showcase that just after. But putting the power back on, here we go, and now we're going to let the loop start up again. Here we go, we see the rod coming all the way around, but now what I'm going to do is switch off the power. So the power's now been switched off, as we see on the side it's now turned red, but as you see on the middle in the window, it's still moving around. So what's going to happen here is once you turn it off in an emergency, it's still going to finish its current cycle. So if you just started to remove a rod, it's going to complete the cycle, it's going to put it away, dispose of it, grab a brand new one, put it back in position, and as you saw right there, it'll then power down the center of the core, and now it's been properly turned off. Of course, in natural gameplay, it will switch off as soon as you turn off the power, but still a nice little touch, like I said, bring this block to life. And of course, come to the small one, all the way over to here we go, now I'm going to press number 1, turn it on, comes out, it's now going to start to spin around, turning it off, and there we go. As you can see, as soon as it turned off, it rotated all the way around, ready to be in position to receive a new rod. Then of course the lights turn out, much like the large one, to signify that it's completed its cycle, and now it's been properly turned off. But once again, does not affect it in actual gameplay, as soon as you switch it off, the power stops. And there we are, that's that for all this mod has to offer. It's a fantastic little set of mods to bring more life to your ship, to your base, for anyone want to do, especially if you want to have these on full on display, so you'll see them every time you walk around. I suppose one final thing to do before we end this video is to pop out this little seed. Here we go, come to the G menu, type in Reactor, there we go, and here we are. So they have been separated completely. So if you want to have the vanilla reactor, you just plop that in place. But if you want to have the animated one, you got that one all the way over here. As you can see, the cost is identical. And well, like I said, the power usage, and of course the power output is identical as well. Other than that, that's that for this video. It's a fantastic set mod, and I absolutely love this mod creator for what they're doing for the game, such as the animated assemblers mods and all of them, and I highly recommend downloading them to check them out yourself. So yes, there'll be a link to it in the description below to download it and play around yourself. Highly recommend you do, as well as the link to the Skybox I'm currently using. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.